Hello music fans, welcome to the first installment in my What's New 2023 series where I talk about new albums that came out in 2023 in the metal, rock, and prog genres. If somebody has a better name for this segment than What's New 2023, let me know and I might just use it. And I'm just going to talk about 5 new albums that I heard so far in January 2023. And I'll talk about them in my order of preference, starting with Polar with Everywhere Everything. This is post-hardcore. There's some progressive metal influences in here as well. This is the 5th album by this UK band, and I've never listened to an album by them before, but this was well done and I really enjoyed it. The second one that I'm going to talk about is by Ahab, and it's called The Coral Tombs. This is progressive funeral doom metal, and it's also the 5th album. That they're a German band, and it's their first album in almost 8 years. The vocals here sound really intense, heavy, and brutal as hell when they do growls and screams. Some parts almost sound like a frog croaking, but also there's some beautiful and sad sounding, clean singing parts. And when I started this album, I expected slow and sad music that would take me on a journey, and that's exactly what I got, so I was pretty happy with it. Not too many surprises here, but well executed funeral doom. The third one that I'm going to talk about is by a band called Wedingoth, and it's called 5 Stars Above. This is progressive Gothic metal, and it's their 4th album. They're a French band. I haven't heard any of their previous work. They've got a female operatic vocalist, and they have occasional male vocals as well that are harsher. And this ended up being much better than I expected after just hearing one of the singles. It's kind of a lesser known, lower budget, lower production value band, but they sound pretty decent. My favorite tracks on first listen were a couple of the heavier ones, From Hell and Twilight. And the 4th album I'm going to talk about is Anti-Flag with The Lies They Tell Our Children. Anti-Flag is kind of a punk rock band with some hardcore and pop influences. This is their 13th album. They're an American band. I've heard one of their albums before in full, which was their 6th album from 2006 for Blood and Empire, and I always liked that album, but I never loved it, so I didn't keep following them. And I kind of felt the same about this one. I don't think it's quite as good as for Blood and Empire, but there are some cool guest musicians on this album, like Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage, Shane Told from Silverstein, and more. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Kornmo with their album Vandring. This is instrumental progressive rock. It's the 4th album from this instrumental trio from Norway. I'd never heard of them before, but it's prog rock, so I decided to check it out. And it's okay. The compositions were somewhat interesting, but sounded like they could be a little bit too jammy or improvised for my liking, and some of the keyboard sounds were a little cheesy or childish. If this came out in the mid-60s, I would consider this kind of a revolutionary proto-prog album, but since it's 2023, it's not really doing anything interesting for me that hasn't been done better before. And that's it for my first impressions on 5 albums that came out in January 2023. Hope some of these sound interesting to you and check them out. Let me know what you think, and let me know if I missed any other albums that are interesting. And until next time, peace out.